I had a visit with the owners of the mall several months ago, and they said, we're wondering if we can get a break in our assessment. I said, well, there's a process for that. The process is that you sue us, and then we can negotiate with you, which is typically what we've done with a lot of companies in the past. The exception here, I think, is that we all know the situation at the mall. They're having a very tough time getting people to fill the place. They're not spending any money fixing the mall up. Sears, who we now know is leaving. I think a couple other stores have closed recently as well. Inside they lost another food court vendor, I believe, and another local store closed as well. They would like, they tell me that if we could, they have a potential buyer interested, and that buyer would like there to be, to know what their tax liability is going to be. They'd like it to be a reduced tax liability. So that said, I've talked with our attorney that handles this stuff about putting together a package that would reduce their assessment by 40%. And I want to put it out there for your consideration. I can send you the numbers, take a look at them. I just got them today.
Their assessments around what, 3 million or something?
I believe so, 3.1.
I don't think there's any way we could sustain that with a mall less than 50% occupancy. If they sue us, you know,
There is one
there's
part,
no way we can defend it.
right. There is one part of the stipulation that says if the fortunes of the mall change, we would see an annual sales report from them. If business increases at the mall and the sales go up, then we say, hey, you know what, we're gonna raise your assessment. So that is, we've done that before with them, I believe, in a previous life, with other properties as well. So that one caveat is still in there. If business things turn around, the mall business increases, then we'll know how much the business is increasing. The other comment I wanted to make is, God forbid we end up with an empty mall sitting on the outskirts of our village. I don't think anybody wants to see that. So if this can help sustain them or a new owner, entice a new owner to come in and maybe make some improvements, I think it's something we have to do, my opinion.
Well, like I said, if we follow the law tax certiorari procedure, there's no way we're gonna defend that.
If you go to court, right, if you go to court, you're gonna have a tough time.
Can't do it.
Tough time to defend.
And they already tried to sell it once, right?
Right, for a lot less than.
So what you're saying, a commercial property is assessed on the use of it, not the building, the land, the location?
Both, all the above.
For commercial, like our houses are assessed on whether they're empty or not, the property.
That's right.
So you're saying we would lose if we got sued?
Well, you don't know, it probably would never end up in court, but there's no way, if they file a tax certiorari, there isn't any way that we can sustain the current assessment on that.
See, their assessments,
less than 50% occupied.
their assessment's based on basically the same thing as a house. What's the value of it? What's the current market value of that mall? And I think that's a difficult number to get a lot of times because of, you do it the same, Mike has to do it the same way, comp sales and stuff like that. So we have, in this kind of,
There has to be a court.
right, in this kind of a real estate, we gotta hire people and all that stuff to come up with comp sales and stuff like that, because it's not really readily available to Mike Ward, and what is the value?
Joe,
And
what
what Albert's saying is, they've already tried to sell it.
I think at 1.2 was the opening bid, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they didn't get anybody to buy it, so they would have a lot on their side on, okay, it's not worth what it's assessed at.
Right.
Joe, let me ask you this question. What you're proposing is an agreement between
It would settle
St. Lawrence Center and us vis-a-vis McNamara.
Yes.
Now, would would rebates be involved?
There are no rebates because they filed this year.
Okay,
So their taxes are paid, I checked that, the taxes are paid at the end of the year.
okay, so
They
no
had
rebates.
some, they also had, I had heard about some outstanding liabilities they had with local bills that hadn't been paid, significant local bills.
Very
They have addressed those concerns as well. They're paying their bills. They have one for outside maintenance, they had another one for utilities, a utilities bill. They are now bringing those accounts current. The process of bringing those accounts current. So, but I think, go back to Tom's initial question, and they go, dovetail what John said, you can have a building that looks like hell, but generating all kinds of revenue, right? And so they do indeed take the earnings potential of a business into consideration when it comes to commercial property. And I know in the past, we've looked at other
Well,
sales.
some of the discussions that we had with nursing
Very-
homes and that
That's
type of
right.
thing had a lot to do with how busy they
That's
were.
right.
It's key in that process, comparable sales are very, very high on the
Yeah,
priority.
it's hard to get.
Very.
For
high
malls.
For malls.
So you're gonna send us a proposal, that we can discuss it further after that, or?
Yeah, what I hope to do is have this on the agenda for the regular meeting in November.
Well,
And
thinking numbers again, based on this sheet right here, we got total assessment of $545 million. So if we lower the assessment by 40% of 3 million, it would be 1.2 million, so $1 million. We'd be lowering at 1/545th, which is 0.02%. So the economic value of that property is a hell of a lot more than what we'll lose in taxes. A
And-
whole hell of a lot more than that.
And again, if it hates.
Take your word for it.
And
If we lower it 40%, you're saying, right?
Right.
Or
40% of, if it's around 3 million now, you'd be lowering at 1.2 million. On a total assessed value of village and town outside of $545 million. You know, the taxable values inside the village went up $1.3 million this year, and outside $500,000, so taxable values went up $1.8 million just this year. So if the trend continued, you would more than make up that loss in assessed valuation within a year. And it had a minor impact on our taxes.
No,
All I'm saying is that the economic, like you said, the lost wages, the lost economic sales tax, economic
Right.
generation of the mall would far outweigh the taxes.
As, Mike formed some kind of opinion, I mean, not heavily.
Mike's been in discussion, we have another law firm that does all this work, Hiscock and Barkley, and, Hiscock and Barkley, and, Mike has been in contact with them through this whole process. He understands the situation they're in. It's not unusual for us to settle these certiorari, these challenges, we do it all the time. In this case, there is no refunds involved, which just makes it better,
Yeah.
so to pay anybody any money back. And to their credit, they came forward and said, we're in trouble, how can you help us somehow? And we said, the only mechanism is this mechanism, and they decided to pursue that. So they didn't come in with guns blazing saying, you know what, something's gonna happen, and we're gonna sue you.
The lighting there at night is, pretty dim,
I know,
you know.
yes it is. There's no doubt the place needs a lot of work, needs a facelift. They simply don't have the money to do it, they're not willing to spend the money they have to do it. And I'm very concerned that the other possibility is if they sell it, if it's a short sale, if they sell it for less than it's worth, then that's gonna drive the price down as well, they're gonna drive the assessment down.
Yep.
So. All right. I will bring that back to you for action, at the regular meeting. Anything else